Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be going over Unit 8, Lesson 2, which is factoring. So, last lesson we were talking about polynomials in general, and things like that, simplifying polynomials, stuff like that. So, in this lesson actually, we're going to be going over factoring and different types of factoring. So, binomial factoring, trinomial factoring, prime factoring, where you can't factor at all, and also factoring by grouping. So we'll take a look at those, and yeah, let's hop right into it. So whenever you're trying to factor, right, it's just like factoring out a GCF. You probably learned this in pre-algebra. You want to find the largest coefficient or the largest number that's divisible by both, right? So in this first one, that should come instantly, 6, right? 36 and 42 have a GCF of 6. So you do 6, and then the variables, so regarding the variables, right, since there isn't variables on both, right, there's only an n squared in the first one and no n on the second term, we just leave the variables like they are. If there are variables on both, like if there's 36n squared minus 42n, then you take an n out as well. But since you don't, we're going to keep it like this. So then 6 times, and then divide 6 by both, so it'll be 36n squared divided by 6 is 6n squared, minus, and then 42 divided by 6 is 7. So this will be our final answer, 6 times 6n squared minus 7. Alright, let's go to the next one now. So we have x squared plus 7x plus 12. So here, right, we have a trinomial. So how do we factor a trinomial? So I like to kind of think of it as a puzzle. So basically your second term, which is 7x in this case, just look at the coefficients. So 7, right? Your second term has 7, and then your third term is 12. So you want to find two numbers that when you multiply them together, you get the third term, which is 12, and you add them together, you get 7, or your second term. So like it's kind of like a puzzle, right? For me, like I've done quite a lot of practice of this, so I know instantly what the answer is. But if you guys want to figure it out on your own, you feel free to pause the video and try it out on your own. So assuming that you've had a go at it, let's figure this out. So you have x squared plus 7x plus 12. We're going to use 4 and 3, right? Because 4 times 3 is 12, and 4 plus 3 is 7. So when we set up our factor, right, we know that we have an x squared in the first term, right? So we're going to have x plus something times another x plus something, or x minus something, depends. And so since we have a plus here, we have a plus here, and then we also have a plus here, what we're going to do is we're just going to keep it in this form. So x plus value times x plus another value. But what are these values, right? 4 and 3. That's what your values are. And so if you guys want to check your answer, you can literally just multiply these together using FOIL that I've done in several other videos. And you guys will figure out that that's the answer that you get right here, right? So that's like a quick way to figure it out. Next is x squared plus 4x minus 45. It's the same thing, right? You have a trinomial. And also another thing to remember, you can only use this when your coefficient of your first term is 1. Remember that as well. So for this one, we have x squared plus 4x minus 45. Find two numbers that when you multiply equal negative 45, and you add them equal 4. Assuming you guys have had a go at it, it would be 9 and negative 5, right? 9 times negative 5 is negative 45, and 9 plus negative 5 is what? 4. So it's the same way, right? Because we have the x squared in the front, so it's x plus a value times x plus another value. So what are these values, right? We had, what did we say they were? 9, and then we had negative 5. X plus 9 times x plus negative 5. Right here, guys, if you have the x plus minus, that's equal to a minus. So you'll have x plus 9 times x minus 5. And like I said earlier, feel free to FOIL it and check it on your own. So, yeah, that'll be answered right here. Let me bold this in for you guys as well. Alright, so let's go to the next one now. So we have a trinomial, right? Again, same thing, right? So let's figure out what two numbers, if we multiply them together, equal this. And if we add them together, equal negative 8. So assuming you guys have paused the video, you guys should have realized that there are actually no numbers. So in this case, where you cannot find two numbers that when you add them together equals a third term, and when you, let me take that back. If you can't find two numbers that when you add them together, you get negative 8, and then when you multiply them together, you get negative 32. That means that this is a prime, right? This is prime. You cannot factor this. That's what this means. Prime. Alright, so now you guys might have noticed that this is x to the power of 3. So how are we going to approach this, right? We don't exactly know how to do this problem. Well, you can do this by grouping, like I said earlier. You want to find the first two terms and then the second two terms. Split them up just like that, alright? Unless, like, if you guys need to, like in some questions, you might need to flip the second and third terms. These two terms, you might have to flip them just to make things easier to factor out. But for now, let's do this. So we basically group them and then we're factoring them individually. So we have 7x to the power of 3 plus 35x squared. So from here, we can take out a 7 and an x squared, right? Take out a 7 and an x squared. And then divide 7x to the power of 3 by that, you'll get x. Plus, then 35x squared divided by 7x squared is actually 5. Right? Alright, now that we've gotten that, right, let's add a plus sign. Now we have to solve for this next one, 5x plus 25. This should be moderately easy. Just factor out the 5, and then this is x plus 5. So from here, guys, right, you might think, oh, we're done, right? Actually, no, you need to put it in this form. Like the earlier points right here and over here, well, ones I'm highlighting, it needs to be in that form. So how do we do that, actually? Well, it's actually pretty evident that the x plus 5 in this parentheses is the same as the x plus 5 in this parentheses. So you can combine them into 1. And when combining them into 1, that doesn't mean you put it like this. When you square it, it's just x plus 5 by itself. And then you have the 7x squared and the plus 5 here, right? As both coefficients. What do you do with those? Well, combine them. So then you have 7x squared plus 5. And you guys might be wondering, right? How are we even allowed to combine this x plus 5 over here and this x plus 5 over here? Actually, you can do that. Because if you decided to make this squared, right, you guys can experiment this on your own, right? If you did x plus 5 squared times 7x squared plus 5 and you multiply them, you'll realize that it's not even what your original equation was. In fact, this would even have an x to the power 4 as your prominent degree, right? Or your highest degree. So that's why this, not you actually, this would be your answer. Right here, x plus 5 times 7x squared plus 5. So hopefully you guys found that very interesting and helpful. So this was factoring, and yeah, I'll see you guys. I think we have one more lesson on actually solving these types of polynomials, things like that. That should be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to that one. But until then, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.